Ciao a tutti! Prima di iniziare, una breve nota. I've started an online meetup for listeners of the podcast. Our first event is called Before or After the Basics of Italian Adjective Order, and it's now full. So I've added a repeat session on January 20th at 8 a.m. Pacific Time. The content is exactly the same as the first one. We'll be working through episodes 14 and 15, focusing on Italian adjective placement. We'll have time for questions and discussion. It'll be a calm, supportive space for you. If you'd like to join us, you can find the event on Meetup by searching for Italian Piano Piano Community Meetup. I'll also put the direct link in the show notes. Che bell'inizio! Now let's get into today's episode.
Sono lì davanti, lì, stai chiamando qui. Vai, vai. Ecco qua. Buongiorno signore, voi potete queste mornuzze tesoro? È un spettacolo.
Impariamo l'italiano piano piano.
Un impegno quotidiano. Dammi la lettera.
Dammela.
Mi dai il libro.
Me lo dai?
Zina dà la scatola a Mariella.
Zina gliela dà.
Porto I documenti a voi.
Ve li porto.
Ho spiegato la situazione a lui.
Gliel'ho spiegata.
What's going on here? In all of these sentences, Italian is replacing a thing and the person or persons for whom it's intended with pronouns, direct and indirect object pronouns smushed together into combined object pronouns, but not sounding at all smushed, instead sounding simple and elegant. Would you like to know how to do this? Good. That's what we're here for today in episode 17, all about combined object pronouns. Ciao, I'm Myra, and this is Impariamo l'italiano piano piano, il podcast per chi vuole imparare l'italiano passo dopo passo. In the last episode, we looked at ci and ne, two pronouns that Italian uses to avoid repeating places, situations, or ideas. Today we're going to extend that same idea to objects and people. You've probably already learned about direct object pronouns like lo, la, li, le for things like the box, the letter, the book. Indirect object pronouns like me, ti, li, le for to me, to you, to him, or to her. So quite often Italian needs to say both, who something is for and what the thing is. So instead of choosing just one pronoun, we're going to use both at the same time. So these are called combined object pronouns or pronomi combinati. We're going to talk about what combined pronouns are, how direct and indirect object pronouns work together, and the basic logic that Italian follows when it puts them together. So before we start combining anything, let's make sure that the roles of these parts of speech are clear. Do you remember back in episode 11 when Antonio asked me to give him a kiss? You remember, right, Antonio? You said, dammi un bacio.
Ricordo fin troppo bene che Paolo era lì vicino, in cucina. E in cucina ci sono molti strumenti contundenti a portata di mano. Facciamo un altro esempio. Va.
Okay. How about give me the letter?
Dammi la lettera.
In this sentence, what is the direct object? La lettera. It's the thing being given. What is the indirect object? A me. It tells us to whom the action is directed. To simplify things, Italian replaces these objects with pronouns. So, what direct object pronoun can we use for la lettera? La. What indirect object pronoun can we use for a me? Mi. Put them together and instead of dammi la lettera, we have da plus mi plus la, which turns itself into dammela. That, my cari studenti saggi, is a combined pronoun. But to understand how all this works, we need to be really clear about what makes something a direct object versus an indirect object. Let's break it down. What is the question a direct object answers? What or whom? It's the thing that receives the action of the verb directly. No preposition such as a is needed. For example, I see the box.
Vedo la scatola. Vedo la scatola.
What do I see? La scatola, direct object. I'm reading the book.
Leggo il libro. Leggo il libro.
What am I reading? Il libro. Il libro is the direct object. Mariella brings the documents.
Mariella porta i documenti. Mariella porta i documenti.
What does she bring? I documenti, direct object. So notice that in Italian, these objects come right after the verb with no preposition. Vedo la scatola. Leggo il libro. Porta I documenti. Pretty straightforward. Next, what's an indirect object? So an indirect object answers the question to whom or for whom. So this is the person or sometimes the thing that benefits from the action or receives the direct object. In Italian, indirect objects usually have the preposition a in front of them. For example, I give the book to Zina.
Do il libro a Zina. Do il libro a Zina.
What do I give? Il libro, the direct object. To whom do I give it? A Zina, indirect object. Or how about I write a letter to my mother?
Scrivo una lettera a mia madre. Scrivo una lettera a mia madre.
What do I write? The direct object, una lettera. To whom? A mia madre, the indirect object. One more. Mariella shows the box to me.
Mariella mostra la scatola a me. Mariella mostra la scatola a me.
What does she show? La scatola, the direct object. To whom? A me, indirect object. So we can see the pattern. The preposition a is your signal that you're looking at an indirect object. Before we actually put them together, let's do a quick review of the pronouns that we're going to be working with. These direct object pronouns replace the thing that's being acted on. Masculine singular it or him, lo. Feminine singular it or her, la. Masculine plural them, li. Feminine plural them, le. A few examples. I see the book.
Vedo il libro. Vedo il libro.
I see it.
Lo vedo. Lo vedo.
I read the letter.
Leggo la lettera. Leggo la lettera.
I read it.
La leggo. La leggo.
I bring the documents.
Porto i documenti. Porto i documenti.
I bring them.
Li porto. Li porto.
I show the photos.
Mostro le foto. Mostro le foto.
I show them.
Le mostro. Le mostro.
And now the indirect object pronouns, which replace to whom or for whom. To me, me. That's M-I. To you, informal, T. To him, li. And to her or to you, formal, the textbook version is le, L-E. But in modern spoken Italian, li, G-L-I, is used, the same as to him and to them. To us, ci. To you all, vi. To them, you might see loro in a textbook, but in modern Italian, the indirect object pronoun for to them is li, G-L-I. And now we're ready to put them together. Here's the fundamental rule for Italian combined pronouns. The indirect object pronoun always comes first, then the direct object pronoun. So think of it as answering two questions in order. To whom? What? So let's go back to our opening example. Give me a kiss. Fine then. Give me the letter.
Dammi la lettera.
So how was this formed? Step number 1. Identify the objects. The direct object is la lettera, which turns into the direct pronoun la. The indirect object, a me, which turns into the indirect object pronoun me. Now put them in order. Indirect first, me, la. But here's where Italians do something interesting. When me, ti, ci, or vi combine with a direct object pronoun, they change the sound. The sound E becomes E. So what starts out as me becomes me. Ti, te. Ci, ce. Vi, ve. So me plus la becomes me la, ti, lo, te lo, ci, li, ce li, vi, le, ve le.
È solo una questione di suono.
Very true. This is purely about sound. Me la is easier for Italians to pronounce than mi la. Why exactly? Chissà. So our original command, give it to me, da mi la, becomes dammela. Do you notice that I'm bouncing a little bit on the M sound? That's because it's a double M. So
Dammela. Dammela.
what's with this double M? It happens because of a phonetic spelling rule in Italian where certain imperative forms combine with pronouns. There's actually a name for it. It's called syntactic doubling or raddoppiamento sintattico. When the shortened informal imperative forms like da, fa, sta, va, or di, each followed by an apostrophe, when they combine with pronouns, the first consonant of the pronoun doubles. So, give me, da plus me, dammi. Give it to me, dammi plus la, dammela. Make me or do for me, fa plus me, fammi. Make it for me, fammi plus lo, fammelo. Tell me, di plus me, dimmi. Tell it to me, dimmi plus lo, dimmelo. If we want to dig in a little further, it's the apostrophe, for instance, da apostrophe, indicates that a vowel has been dropped from dai. And when you attach pronouns, Italian compensates for that missing sound by doubling the consonant. Now, just to be clear, that double consonant happens only when the pronouns are attached to a short command like dammi. But most of the time, combined pronouns don't go at the end. With a normal conjugated verb, they go before the verb. Let's see more combined pronoun examples. Keep in mind that when indirect object pronouns combine with a direct object pronoun, they change form slightly. For example, me to me, ti to te, ci to che, vi to ve. Will you give me the book? Mi dai il libro? Will you give it to me? Me lo dai? I show you the box. Ti mostro la scatola. I show it to you. Te la mostro. They bring us the documents. Ci portano I documenti. They bring them to us. Ce li portano. I explained the rules to you all. Vi spiego le regole. I explained them to you all. Ve le spiego. Now for third person. We have one word for to him, to her, or to them. That word is li. G-L-I. In modern spoken Italian, li is used for to him, to her, and to them. You'll still see lei for her and loro for them in some grammar books, but in everyday Italian, li takes over for all three of those.
Sì, nella vita vera diciamo così.
Right, you'd know about real life, wouldn't you, Antonio?
Quanto basta?
Okay. And when li combines with direct object pronouns, it becomes one word. So, no space between li and the direct object pronoun. And you'll notice something else. Italian adds a little e sound in the middle to make it easier to pronounce. For example, li plus lo, glielo. Li plus la, gliela. Li plus li, glieli. Li plus le, gliele. And remember, these are written as a single word. Let's see this combination in action. I give the book to Marco.
Do il libro a Marco. Do il libro a Marco.
So the direct object, il libro, lo. Indirect object, a Marco, gli. With the combined pronoun, I gave it to him.
Glielo do. Glielo do.
Another example, I write the letter to Maria.
Scrivo la lettera a Maria. Scrivo la lettera a Maria.
What's the direct object? La lettera, which becomes la. The indirect object, a Maria, which becomes gli. And now with the combined pronoun, I write it to her.
Gliela scrivo. Gliela scrivo.
How about I show the photos to the boys?
Mostro le foto ai ragazzi. Mostro le foto ai ragazzi.
What is the direct object? Le photo, which becomes le. The indirect object, ai ragazzi, which becomes gli. Using the combined pronouns, I show them to them.
Gliele mostro. Gliele mostro.
Of course, it's the context that tells you whether glielo means to him, to her, or to them. Once you know who and what you're talking about, it starts to become easier to put it all together.
Sì, è una questione di abitudine.
A matter of habit. Exactly. Now that we know how to form combined pronouns, we need to know where to put them in a sentence. The good news is the placement rules are the same as for single pronouns. If you remember how to place lo, la, mi, or ti, you already know where the combined pronouns go.
Tranquilli, qui non cambia quasi niente.
I think we're calm enough, Antonio, but you've got a point. It's nice to know that the placement is the same as always. And that's where we're going to pick up in our next episode.
A proposito, Mayra, hai sentito Paul?
Sì, l'ho visto al meetup online un paio di giorni fa. Era lì, sorridente. Sembrava ok.
Ah, quindi è vivo. Meno male. Dopo la finestra mi preoccupavo.
Sì, Antonio, è vivo. È sopravvissuto. Oh, and about Paul, at that meetup, I asked him what the podcast is about for him, and I cannot resist sharing his response. Here we go.
So this podcast for me is about trying to piece together, learning all the grammar that is confusing me with Italian. And I think what I get out of it for me is learning many words through the story that you have put together and then using those examples in my daily learnings, and then also pulling out what we're learning as far as the grammar. And I think that was for me some of the biggest things that I was needing. When I found the podcast, I was able to become a supporter. And through that, I was able to use flashcards. I was able to get more understanding through the transcripts, and then also the companion series through the email and learning all the answer keys and the lessons and everything. So for me, it's been really great because I can do this in many different forms. I do it while I'm driving because I have a long drive to work every day. And then I get to sit down after and go through the lessons and go through the transcripts and find words I didn't understand. But for me, it's like you say, learning step by step. And it's really great because I'm really putting a lot of things together.
Thank you, Paul and cari studenti saggi. If you'd like to join us in our next meetup, you're absolutely welcome. The link is in the show notes, or you can find the event on meetup.com by searching for Italian Piano Piano Community Meetup. And one more quick reminder, show supporters also get access to the study guides, answer keys, and printable transcripts of the episodes.
Perfetto. Allora possiamo continuare.
And we will, Antonio, but we're going to stop here for today. That was a fair amount for one episode, and if your brain feels full right now, I understand. The most important thing to focus on for now is just two questions: to whom and what. Once you can identify these two pieces, the rest starts to feel much more logical. In the next episode, we're going to take these combined pronouns and keep going. We'll look at where they go in the sentence, and we'll practice them in longer sentences, especially with modal verbs like volere, dovere, and potere. And we'll also start working more with the passato prossimo, so you can get comfortable with agreement in this very common past tense. A presto, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Non scappate, io vi aspetto.
Non c'è lì all'angolo, Diego?
Aspetta, manca 5 euro, un secondo, Più grossi?
Hai bisogno di 5 euro, Andrea?
Sì, dalla signora.
No.
Tu poi guardami il 5 euro.